Hi everybody, sorry to take such a long break, but I've been in the sun and seen some family and eaten a lot of raw fish, and I'm happy to be back at home, tending my garden, trying to get ready for the farmer's market and reviewing my summer commitments. And summer's really not my season. I do a lot of stuff in the summer, but really Christmas is the season for most of what I do. The big pieces have some potential in the summer, but I'm not always in the right place at the right time for that. But at Christmas time, just the quantity of smaller items really, I do half my business at Christmas time with primarily small items and a few large pieces. Anyway, then here I am painting highlights onto some mountains that I painted a while ago. We're going to make a wall hanging that is a fairly traditional landscape that looks like one of these, and or something like it, but in preparing to do it I realized I don't have this great mountain fabric that I used to use for these wall hangings, and if I could find something as good I would just use that. But what I've resorted to doing over the years, which I didn't think about when I said we would make one of these, is that when I need mountains I have to paint them myself, and I do just sort of use the wall hanging mountains as a model. I like the purple mountain motif. That's what I'm trying to create here with paints, and I like the kind of yellow green in the mountains, and so this is just one of those examples of how you can't always get the fabrics that you like in the first versions of something, and then you have to figure out what to do to try to create a similar piece using different fabrics. And that's where this painting comes in, and dyeing, and trying to make these things the way you need them to be. Set yourself up with a piece of fabric to paint, and for my project I'm doing it about 30 inches wide and about 12 inches tall. I apologize for the fact that I keep making disclaimers as I make these videos, but I'm not a painter, and I'm just making this up as I go along, and I haven't really found the perfect way to do this. Usually once I have found the perfect way to do something, I get sort of bored with it, because then you're just doing the same thing over and over. And so this is sort of fun, exploring whether to start with the dark parts or the white parts, and going back and forth and working like watercolor and dry brushing on areas that are dry, and seeing what effects I get and what I like over time. And so that's why I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it, so that anyone that wants to start exploring painting on fabric and landscape painting can begin to decide on a design and either find some mountains to use or attempt to paint some. And I'll put a basic materials list in the towel section below the video, but use what you have and experiment, because you may have something on hand that works really well. But I will tell you the things I think that are important, so that you can assess whether the things you have or the things you're thinking of picking up will work. I can't possibly know what fiber art will be to you in your life, but I can tell you what it is in mine. To me, fiber art is a process in which we often free motion quilt, and it certainly overlaps a lot with quilting, the tasks we do and the tools we use. But I think it's very dissimilar from quilting, because it isn't strictly premeditated. For better or worse, fiber art insists on retaining flexibility. I tell people that my work relies on a set of techniques, not patterns, so that each piece has its own personality. It doesn't surprise me at all that sometimes a customer, when they're buying a wall hanging, will say they've been watching my work for years and that this tree is theirs, for example. when they do this, I think they're responding to the personality of that particular piece, which to me is a result of the materials I had on hand and where I was at the time. 18 months ago, I suffered the biggest loss of my lifetime. My dad got sick and ended up with leukemia and died. And these videos are my attempt of making sense of a world that really stopped making sense to me. My dad was an example of turning the other cheek and giving to others, even in the face of adversity. And in some way, I feel that passing this sewing information to you is my way of healing my own heart when I haven't really wanted to do anything but cry. So when you're working, listen to yourself and do the things that feel right and trust that it'll work out. Don't worry so much that things are a mistake or that someone might give it a thumbs down. You really aren't working to please the people that look at something and immediately click a thumbs down. You're working first for yourself, and then for the people around you, and then for that person whose name you'll never know, who will someday be touched or moved by something you set in motion through your efforts and through your work. And I think that's enough. I think it's enough to create coming from a place of honesty and sincerity and trying to directly connect with what is meaningful to you and putting it out in the world and hoping for the best. And if you can thicken your skin a little bit and not let that occasional thumbs down bum you out so that you can keep creating, I think it's worthwhile. I think it's life. So thanks for watching.